required training side of this. So first, you must attend a live training. This training will be offered twice a year. The requirements to submit applications: you have to be a North Carolina licensed soil scientist, obviously. Attend the Iredell provided training, which you are. Be in good standing with North Carolina and Iredell County, and be eligible to participate after required trainings. In good standing means no disciplinary actions with you, the board hasn't taken an action with you, suspended your license, or we have not suspended your ability to do fast track. This is a copy of the requirements. We have to have an application. Requirements for septic permit sheet, that's this. Everybody's seen this. It's generally a green sheet, so we refer to as the green sheet. And it just describes what the lot must look like. The lots must be cleared, property lines must be marked. We've got to be able to see what we're doing out there. So that's essentially the first thing that needs to be submitted. And it also describes that if it doesn't meet all this criteria, there's a $100 site revisit fee. That's nothing new. That was approved several years ago by the board. Get back. What we would like to see is, this is more recent, this is going to be a change, is a represented owner or client information that is we request that to be submitted. So we have the information of the actual owner, some contact to be able to get some contact information, including client's primary phone number, email address, primary street address, some way to get a hold of them. That way, if we need to contact them, we can, for any purpose.
Adrian, when you typically do that, for what reason?
We find that there's a disconnect sometimes between us and the folks that are actually wanting to get the permit, to where we just don't have. I know you guys are supposed to use as a liaison between the two, but sometimes it gets forgotten. Some things we mention, sometimes we have discussions that don't get passed on, things like that, the homeowner, we want them to be aware of everything that's going on the property. If for some reason that the house has to be moved, we want them to know, because when you choose a house location, it started construction, you can't move it. So a lot of people pick their house location, take it very seriously, it's got to be here. So if we need to move all this, we want to make sure everybody's aware, because ultimately you work with the client's going to be the one owning the lot. So we want to be sure everybody's all on the same page. That's that form. We would like the NC Diener soil sheet filled out completely, also DHHS soil sheet. I'm sure we'll change again at some point in time. But for right now, it actually just updated it online. It was still called the Diener soil sheet, but they updated it to DHHS soil sheet. And if anybody has a question what that looks like, there it is. And it actually does say Department of Health and Human Services. After, 2 years of being that, 3 years being that, they finally changed it. So they actually, I think, changed it after we got this all approved. So in our stuff, it still says Diener. And that's just to keep consistency. I know everybody likes their own soil sheets, their own logo on it, and that's great, but every time we get one, we have to find, each column has certain things, we have to go through it and find it. So if it's consistent, we know boom, 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 easy to hit it and keep going. Copy of the expedited review checklist. I have that here too. It's also in you guys' packet there. This is the expedited review checklist. For many of you that have done this for a while, it all looks very similar to a checklist from 2005. Because it is. Minus a couple, we've made some change, some more detail has been added to it. There was some vagueness to it. I'm sure if you read it enough, you'll find some gray area also. It's like with the septic rules themselves, there's gray spots. But the goal with this was to give an idea of what we were looking for, and it lays everything out. So if you can check, just kind of go through it, check it all, make sure it's all there. Most everyone does this anyway, so there's not a whole lot of change between what used to be and what is now. Like I said, most everyone does it anyway. We would like to be to scale. Again, most everyone does this. Scale, detailed site plan scale to engineer scale of 1 inch equals 30, 1 inch equals 40, 1 inch equals 50, or 1 inch equals 60. With a north arrow, again, this is very typical. Yes, Tony?
Suppose you have a lot that's going to be a 36 by 36 inch sheet if you do it at 1:60.
Yes.
You want the 36 inch sheet?
I do not. You can do a close up or a close up of, or I mean, well, I guess I do need a whole sheet overall. We need the whole sheet, but if you could do a close up, because I mean, I don't want the septic in house to be this big. You know,
We're doing a lot of them this big.
yeah. If there's any way to do the whole sheet and then a close up of it, and that way we can see the detail, kind of a detailed site plan of it to one of those scales. Because like I said, we've got to be able to. We do that on properties. We got 15, they got 30 acres, 100-acre tracts up here that they're trying to draw it on. All thing we can do is draw a close-up of it and try to give the best dimensions we can. We're not expecting y'all to do too much more than what we do. I mean, we actually go through this process ourselves. You just don't see it.
When we do a close-up, getting back to Tony's question, do you want a border and all that with company logo and all that, or just a close-up and a big map?
It could be just a close-up.
You know what I mean, a close-up?
To a scale. And you can put your scale on there, north there. That way we can
There it
still
is.
orient.
But no border and all that?
Yeah, I don't-
You'll get the bigger map.
You can if you want. I mean, that's totally up to you. I don't care if you got your.
No, it takes more time, I'd rather not.
Adrian, what about an 8.5 by 11?
Yep.
At some scale, 1 inch equals 400.
That's fine. And then do a close-up
And then
of
do
it.
a close-up
That's fine.
instead of giving you a 36 inch.
We gotta keep up with a 36-inch sheet of paper, yeah, and it takes up file space. And we're running, we
And
have
we gotta
files.
shrink it so we can scan
Yeah.
it too, so.
So, yeah, you can do it like that.
8.5 by 11 would be great.
Yeah,
400 scale.
it doesn't, yeah, as long as you come up with a close-up to where we can see it to one of those scales that's legible.
In other words, we don't have to provide the whole property boundary within that scale if we've got a monster property.
No, but yeah, like I said, you just do your original, you know, do a, I don't know, 1 inch equals 1,000. And you
Yeah.
can aim all the property around it, you know, you can hit it.
Mhm.
Then you can do a close-up of what you're doing on it.
At one of those.
At one of those scales. And we do specify one of these scales, because we actually have had the argument before of, without specifying, we said, you know, the engineering scale between, you know, 1 inch equals 30 and 1 inch equals 60, and we get 1 inch equals 47. That's hard for me to find on a scale. We have to shrink it then and blow it up to get it back to the scale. And the north area is, north arrow is obviously for our benefit and you guys' benefit of determining north. For non-expiring permits, some of you guys do more of these than others. For non-expiring permits, this is a more or less right out of the rules. A scale site plan must be submitted meeting the above criteria, and a copy of the deeded or recorded plat of the subdivision or survey by a NC licensed surveyor at no more than 60 scale, showing the specific location of the proposed facility, appurtenances, site for the proposed wastewater system, and the location of water supplies and surface waters. So obviously, every lake lot, you gotta show all that. A complete signed and sealed wastewater design. That's something new. We're requesting them to be sealed again. It used to happen, and then it went away, and now we're back. We're back to signing and sealing them. So, let's see, I do have try to put as many examples on here. I know previously required. That is a site plan there. North arrow, scale. Obviously I checked it. But it shows the detail on there of the site plan.
Oh, man.
For, only for non-expiring permits.
This is a deeded and recorded plat of the subdivision. So for non-expiring, this would suffice as the requirement of a deeded and recorded plat. And it actually would say on here, one of these stamps, I believe it's this one, describes plat date, when it was recorded, year and all that. They have changed that a little bit. Now it's actually a barcode. It's stamped on it, and it actually says this plat was recorded at this date, but it still has a recordation date on it. It's not necessarily the plat date, but the recordation date.
Are you saying seal every page or just the cover sheet?
Just the middle, as
Just-
long as it's on
yeah.
the middle somewhere.
It's on the middle somewhere, as long as it's been sealed, it's got your seal on it. Would you like to seal every sheet?
No, 'cause I like a lot of clutter where you can't really find the pertinent details.
Yeah,
I
so,
agree. Maybe 8 seals per page.
and you know, that's fine with me, I like confusion, so we could do that. We can do that. Use something bright too that sticks out, or I'll tell you what, use black, and then do black ink for your site plan too, that way it all overlap. I don't care, as long as you sign it and seal it somewhere, on cover, notes, whatever, some of that. This is an example of a actually surveyed lot here. Obviously it's sealed by the surveyor. It shows everything located. If there was any surface waters here, there it is, Lake Norman, there's your surface water, there's your well. It shows the location of all the septic lines, septic tank, house pad area, sign is sealed by the surveyor, so that satisfies for that part of the non-expiring. All right, design review. That comes down to our job in the process. So we've kind of hit what you guys are gonna have to do. Like I said, mainly it's in these expedite review process and the checklist. That's really what you guys are gonna be spending most of your time, just making sure that it's all on there. Comes down to what we do. Well, all submitted design material will be reviewed prior to a field visit. Sometimes we do that. I know in Mooresville, it's generally opposite. You kind of review it while you're in the field. I know in Statesville, they review it prior to going to the field. Well, it's all going to be prior to going to the field now. So we're actually going to sit down, review this thing, make sure that the math adds up, make sure it's got all the stuff off the checklist on it, you know. And then if we don't, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. But we're going to do all that in advance going to the field, and that way we can, by the time we get to the field, we know we're just checking for soils, line lengths, the layout, make sure everything matches there. If any deficiencies or errors are found in the design, a site visit will not be made until these deficiencies are fixed. That's something new. You know, before we kind of said, all right, we got some issues with it, we're not gonna, we'll still go to the field and evaluate it. We've now determined that what we'll do is we find any deficiencies, we'll slide off to the side, go to the next one, notify you and say we've got issues with this design. Upon the second resubmittal, a $50 resubmittal fee will be charged. That's a new fee. As part of us having to keep reviewing and stuff, and if we have issues to the point we have to have, really be your third submittal. Because you submit once, when you initially submit it, we find errors, you'd submit it back to us. If we still have the errors, you'd submit it the third time, and that would really be your second resubmittal fee, because you resubmitted it twice. Is that confusing enough for you?
Say that again.
You really submit it 3 times. You have an initial submittal, and you go to the office and you say, here's my design, take a look at it. We take a look at that's submittal number 1, that's your initial submittal. We evaluate and say, I got a couple issues here, resubmit it. That'd be your first resubmittal. It's just a resubmittal, that's it. If we get it back the second time, I go, man, you still haven't quite got it right yet, resubmit again. That's when the fee comes up. So your second resubmittal is your third submittal. Again, if I'm trying to make this as confusing as possible, I'm going back with you, Tony. You know, you taught me if I can confuse them, that's what we'll do. So, let's make everybody confused. Then, if we have no issues with it at all, we will do the field evaluation will be conducted. The design will be compared to the field work. Obviously, we do that now. We go out there, checks and balances. It's like grading an English paper. You know, we take your word for this. If the site cannot be completed upon initial visit, a $100 revisit fee will be charged. Again, we get to the field. I'm not talking about 2 flags missing. I'm not talking about, a tree has suddenly fallen from a recent wind and rainstorm across the drain field, unless it's a really big tree and it ripped up 3/4 of your drain field. Still don't know how we can charge a $100 revisit fee unless you pushed a tree over. But we're talking about if you get to the site and there's a property corner in the front, a 500-foot long line, a property corner in the back, and we stand here and go, I can't see anything. The question would then be, how did you guys do it? Unless you GPS'd it. Well, you didn't give us the coordinates, so how can we do it? So that would be with a $100 revisit fee. There's reasoning behind all this. We're not aiming to sit here and just take money, but we've got to be able to complete our job. And everything we request here is also requested as average Joe citizen that comes in here. We go to the site, we call them up in advance, we review their application in the office, we call them up in advance, we say, hey, is the site marked, is the house marked, can we see from property corner to property lines marked? Because they also filled out that green sheet and checked it to make sure it met all the criteria. We get out there, nothing's marked, we leave. And we call them back up and say, we talked to you, you said everything was marked, what happened? Oh, I thought you just needed the front corners marked. No. well then, same fee occurs there too. So this is not trying to pick on anybody. We pick on everybody evenly. We are equal opportunity picking people. So this is a description of the submittals after the initial submittal. So again, it's in your package. You have your first resubmittal. We're going to call these errors. Errors shall be corrected and a new application resubmitted. We will request a new application to be resubmitted with the owner and client's signature. The reason is for that is to hold some accountability with this too. Is whenever we request something to be resubmitted, this is where there's sometimes not the conveyance between us, the consultant, and the owner, to where we need to know that they're calling us on our phone up saying, hey, what's going on? This is not fast. How many times I've heard that? This is not fast track. It should be done by now. And we can say, well, we're on our third resubmittal here, or second resubmittal. That's why. This is what's going on. Yes, Steve?
Can the owner and client's signature be a legal representative of that company?
Well, we have forms for that too.
Because we
And I
have
would
a
say
lot
no.
of papers to be filled out, like with True Homes, for example, and they have a legal representative that can sign all my documents. Is that sufficient?
We have a form also that allows legal representatives. I'm sure you've seen that
Right.
form.
If I get that filled out, is that okay as far
For a
as?
situation like that, I would say we have to, yes. Because finally, the owner may be a board.
Well, that's
It
what
may
we're
be a
into.
board of folks there. And
We may not find them.
they may only meet once a month and you have to wait till that month to get everybody. So yes, we could do something in that situation, but generally it'd be the owner, the applicant, who is applying for this needs to be addressed. We just want to make sure everybody is all on the same page, that you and I have talked, you and your client have talked, and I want to make sure at the end of the day, they know where we're all at.
Okay.
This is what's going on, because if not, we do get calls, we'll then get complaints, and then there's just, stuff got forgotten and not conveyed. Just things get forgotten. We realize that. We forget stuff, So, we would like it to be submitted within 7 days to maintain your place on the list, so we don't end up with a pile of pendings started. We already have multiple pending piles right now, per office, per person actually, of stuff that we pulled off from the regular list from like I said, Joe Blow down the street here that can't get the lot surveyed, so it has to go to pending. So we end up stacking it on pending, stacking it on pending. We fail wellhead, stacking it on pending. The last thing we need is a fast track pending, which we'll still end up with it, but at least it'll give you some incentive to, within 7 days, to get it in. And you guys also know that sometimes, if you place at the bottom of the list, you'll literally move out and then back on. And you went from last to first again because there's only one in the box. So it may not be that bad anyway. Second resubmittal, errors shall be corrected and a new application resubmitted with the owner's client's signature. This is when, obviously, we got to keep everybody addressed, because if we're getting to the second time, we've had still the same errors. That's why the $50 fee will be charged, because at this point in time, we're on really the third submittal. We should be able to get stuff cleared up by that. If there's some confusion there, please come in, talk with us, call us, discuss it with us, do whatever we need to do to get this right, because there are some ways that we do things versus some ways that you guys do things, and we're trying to make sure we're all on the same page. And if math is the issue, obviously we can argue math all day long. It's just about how you do it. If math is an issue, I'll explain it to us. Explain me how you do it, and I'll explain how we do it. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. So we need to keep a good open communication. Definitely keep a good open communication, which I think we have. I think everybody calls everybody, talks. So I just want to make sure that's occurring, because I never want to get to the second, and I know no one else does, because then there's $50 for a resubmittal fee. It's actually due to our office before we even review the resubmittals. So you need to turn it all at the same time. But if it happens, you turn it in, it's just going to sit in the box until we get the fee. And we'll be notified by Adrian or Rhonda that the fee's been paid. The application will be placed at the bottom of the expedited review list. And again, like I said, that may be you still may be number 1, maybe at the bottom, or you may be number 10. Third resubmittal, that's where this is getting, this is what's gonna get really challenging. Third resubmittal is a $50 fee will be due again. So you'll be up to the $100 fee. The application will be removed from the expedited review list. And it will be placed at the bottom of the regular work list. So you'll actually be removed from the expedited review list, placed at the bottom of the regular work list. So however many, days, weeks, whatever this took to get this worked out, you've lost because now you're placed on the bottom of the regular list. We only have one list. So you'll be placed at the bottom of a all-county list. It's long. We'll go ahead and put it like that. It's got, every given week, 100 applications roughly on it. So that's a terrible consequence, just that in itself. But if we get to this point, this is going to hurt the most, is the LSS be suspended from participating in the expedited review process for 6 months. So we never want to get, this is literally your fourth submittal at this time. If it's the 4 submittals, we've got a major breakdown somewhere. We got to get this figured out long before this. So we should never be able to get to this spot. I really hope not. Because Justin and I will be the lucky son of guns that get to implement it. And then, we'll get car bombed or something later, I'm sure. So, that's essentially the process for the errors. This is a resubmittal form. It is in your application, page 2 of your application. It is a checklist, again, of things that the county, that we, obviously the resubmittal number, which number you're on, are you on your first resubmittal, second resubmittal, third resubmittal. The fee is due if there is any, that'd be for the second. And the resubmittal due date if it has 7 days. The application, you list your property, your site, and all that on there. And then it makes sure, it's a checklist. Make sure you got all these things, the soil sheet, the site plan, this is a checklist of things that didn't match.
Yeah, this is what y'all
this
give us,
didn't
right?
match. Sorry, yeah.
Y'all give us this.
We will give you this, yes.
Okay.
We will give you this. It's got everything on there. Sorry, I was getting confused with it. Of everything that we had issues with. No north arrow and all that. Like I said, it doesn't have to be some kind of complicated, squiggly calligraphy north arrow, that the surveyors put on there. It's all beautiful. It looks like something out of the, a 1590s textbook. So it can literally be an arrow that says north. And as long as it is north, I'm gonna get on there and point it north and actually due east. Which I don't know how we figure that out when I get into the site first. But either way, it's a checklist of things that we had issues with. And it explains your resubmittal, once again, process. And it would have whoever, the signature of the client and the LSS involved. So, that is essentially the forms. If you need more of them, you can go to these. I'm sure you guys are somewhat familiar with this. It's IDOCA's website, that's where the applications and stuff are located for our department. These I don't think are on there just yet, but they will be. I will be sure to get these on there so they'll be easily accessible. And on everybody's database, I'm sure. That's on-site water protection page on Department of Health and Human Services. And it's got all your forms and applications, stuff like that on there that you may need, math, how you want to do stuff, different forms and all that's on there too.